everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, and we are going to review a movie which has been termed a comedy called My Bodyguard. It's a 1980 comedy set in a high school in Chicago, Illinois. I would actually call it a dramedy, and I'll talk about that later.
That's not fair.
Anyway, in the movie, Clifford Peach, who is played by Chris Makepeace, a Canadian actor, has been attending a prep school and transfers to Lakeview High School, which is, for real, the oldest high school in the country. His father is Mr. Peach, or Peachy.
Peachy.
And he is played by Martin Mull, who is manager of a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago. Clifford lives with Peachy and Grandma Peach, played by Ruth Gordon, who constantly gets in trouble because she flirts with the male customers in the hotel bar.
She's Maude from Harold and Maude. If you guys watched that weird movie.
Cliff's mom passed away a few years before. As I said, the hotel limo driver drops Clifford off at his new school, and as you can guess, there's probably going to be some kind of trouble. Because why would there be a movie where everything was going to be fine and cool, and you know that there's going to be some kind of problem? So, in English class homeroom, Cliff is a sophomore and has a hard time finding a seat because everyone, it seems, is saving a seat for a friend. After finally finding a seat, a group of boys swagger into the room like they own the place. One of them, Melvin, is played by Matt Dillon. I suspected they were the bullies, and I was right. More about that later. A girl with frizzy hair and braces named Shelley is played by Joan Cusack, who wants Melvin to sit near her. For some reason, Clifford, who is new and doesn't know anyone, makes some snarky remark about Melvin, which I can't believe any new kid would ever do on his first day of school. Melvin shoots over a threatening look and makes a few threatening comments, and you know Clifford will probably be toast after school. After this, a tall, somber-looking big guy comes in after everyone, and a boy tells Clifford that Ricky Linderman, who is played by Adam Baldwin, and he's been several movies and TV shows for over the years, like Full Metal Jacket and Independence Day. And Ricky Linderman is a really bad boy who everyone says he killed someone, so they stay the heck away from him. Everybody is really actually very scared of him. So as I correctly predicted, after school, Melvin and his buddies corner Clifford and tell him if he pays them his lunch money every day, they'll protect him from Linderman. In fact, they are extorting money from several students at the moment, every day. Cliff refuses, and they chase after him. He just makes it in time to get his limo back to the hotel. Peachy finds out about the trouble and calls the principal. Clifford didn't know about it and would never have agreed to it, but it happens. And of course, the next day he and Melvin are called into the principal's office. This makes matters a whole lot worse, which Clifford knew was going to happen. And after gym class, he finds his school clothes and books and papers covered in food garbage in his locker, courtesy of Melvin and his buddies. They even stuff Cliff in a locker, and Ricky Linderman thankfully breaks him out. Cliff endures about as much crap as he's going to endure, and decides to ask Linderman to be his bodyguard. He'll even pay him to do it. But Linderman refuses. It was only when one day, and I don't remember what happened exactly, but Cliff is outside of the school, and Melvin and his buddies are about ready to pound him, and a lot of other kids too, the sophomores, are out there, and they're just about to get him, and Linderman shows up and threatens them and pushes them around a little bit, and they run away. And everybody cheered and patted Linderman on the back because it seems like they're sick of Melvin and his buddies too.
You literally just gave half the movie away, so hope you know that.
No, I didn't.
Literally just gave half
No,
the
I
movie
didn't.
away. Yeah, you did.
However, this is a one-time only deal, and Linderman brushes Cliff off. Next day after school, Cliff asks his homeroom teacher about Linderman. She says that he didn't kill his little brother or anyone else, and that's all she knows. So Cliff decides to follow Linderman after school. Why? I have no idea.
Give the rest of the movie
In
away,
fact,
too.
it was just another impulsive moment on Cliff's part that could get him into trouble, just like before with Melvin at the beginning of the movie. Okay, Marco, go ahead. You're up.
You only have a third of the movie left now, so you can talk first.
I did.
You can say what you thought.
Well, I really liked the part of what I just talked about where Cliff is outside and he's just about ready to be pounded, and he's going to stand up for himself, but I don't think he's a match for Melvin and at least two of his buddies. And so when Linderman kind of like shows up out of nowhere, and he really doesn't even do that much. Compared to everybody, this guy's really big. And I don't know if he's really, really big, or it's partly because of the clothes he's wearing too, but he just looks so much bigger and threatening, and he's got a mean look on his face, and he really does look like he could kill somebody. He's really threatening, and so when they back off and walk away reluctantly, but they do walk away, and all the kids cheer and they're patting him on the back. Before they were so scared of him, and they wouldn't even touch him, much less get even close to him. And they're just all happy because, these people, these boys, these bullies have been taking money, threatening all of them and taking all their money too every day, and nobody does anything about it, and everybody just seems small, and Melvin and his buddies seem kind of big, and Linderman seems the biggest of all. So it's so anyway, they're all happy, but the happiness is brief because he doesn't want to do anything else. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He just wants to go and do his own thing. So that was one part of it, out of that first part that I talked about that I really liked. And it really was a surprising movie. I wasn't sure I'd like it, but it wasn't very long either. And so that's it. So what else do you want to say about it? Because tons of stuff, more things happen, but I'm just telling about part of the movie. That's why it's called My Bodyguard, because he asked Linderman, Cliff does, if he would be his bodyguard, because he's just had it. He's not going to put up with it.
Alright. Very good movie. And it's a classic. Nobody knows about it. And you can find it for free on YouTube, but not very good quality. But I still, it doesn't really matter if you're watching it on YouTube or Amazon. So, and it has a good script, which is funny since it's by the same guy who wrote all these horror movies, like Deranged. And so isn't that surprising that the guy who wrote Deranged wrote this movie, even though you haven't seen Deranged?
Well, it could be maybe this is something that he thought about when he was younger, or this could be the movie that he really wanted to make, or who knows? Maybe it's something that happened in his childhood, or he heard something about it, or who knows? Like somebody else experienced it and told him about it.
I don't know, since the movie's not very popular, there's no interviews to talk about that. It's just theories.
Is the guy, if the guy's still alive?
Yeah, he's alive. A lot of these people that they do stuff in the 90s and then they don't do anything else afterwards.
Wait a minute, this was 1980. That's even longer ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, they go until the 90s, like maybe early 90s. They don't do anymore. And it's the same thing with the guy who plays Peachy, main character. He hasn't done like anything, so same thing with him. And also, this movie's pretty funny. I don't think it's as dramatic as she says, where it's like it overtakes the comedy. But I do think that the drama is just it's as it's needed. It's like a supplement, and it works really well.
Well, the reason why I called it a dramedy because it's not like uproariously funny where you're just like laughing like crazy, like a Mrs. Doubtfire. Some of the things you're about to fall off the chair in laughter. This isn't that kind of movie. It's kind of just pleasant, happy laughter. There's one kind of laughter you're laughing almost you just can't even you're laughing so hard that you've got tears rolling down your face and you're about ready to fall off your chair. That's one kind of laughter. And then there's another kind of laughter that's kind of you're a happy laughter and it's pleasant, and then you have like a story and it's kind of a serious story. I mean, this kid is it never was made clear to me, but maybe Marco picked it up and I just didn't read the reason why this kid decided why they took him out of prep school and put him in public school. As I never heard the reason for that.
I don't know why.
But this, it would be this is real, and kids moving in high school to go to a new community or a new high school, it's hard for them. And that's not funny. That's not a comedy. Well, I mean, that part of it, because it's a serious thing.
It's still a comedy.
He was, but
and
he handled it really well.
And I'm not even. He deserved to be taught a lesson, to be honest.
Well, that thing where he made a snarky remark to some stranger, and then all the other kids were strangers too.
He's this privileged guy, and I never noticed this before, but he's this privileged guy. He just walks in the room and thinks that everybody's gonna treat him like he's cool.
No, he's not that bad. He's not full of himself.
He's not that bad, but still,
he's mistaken.
He insults that guy. He's naive, and he deserves to be taught a lesson. One lesson, though, not a multitude of lessons. well, of course, I guess the whole ordeal is good for him, and that's what's really funny. Is you could say all you want about how bullying is bad, but he learned like valuable lessons from being bullied. It was actually like a good thing for him.
Well, I would think actually too. Everybody always talks about, and sometimes it just goes in one ear and out the other. For me, they talk about people growing, and I would think everybody who was in the movie, whether they were a bully or not a bully, or they were him or his family, everybody grew in the movie, and it was all positive.
Even the bully.
Even the bullies grew.
How did he grow?
He grew because he got bested.
Yeah.
And he
there's
figured out there's somebody in this world that's not going to tolerate his BS, and that also there's somebody who can best him, not just like mentally, like challenging and win the challenge mentally, but somebody
there's
physically.
probably something going on with him too. That
Yeah,
you don't
but
know
they
about.
never talk about that.
But the important thing is that behavior that he has learned has stopped because he got taught a lesson and too.
And it isn't.
It's not perfect.
No, it's not perfect. There's nothing that's ever perfect, and that's what life is. Life isn't about everything being perfect, and everything's going to be handed to you, or everything that you want to happen is not going to happen perfectly, or maybe in the way that you think it's going to happen. But it was a really nice little movie, and I think it was fun to see Joan Cusack because
The
she's
character was kind of worthless. So I'm not saying
well, she's like a supporting
she's
actor.
bad. I'm just saying like I didn't see the point to her character. I'm really just kind of like weirded out. Like, why is her character in the movie? Because she has this whole romance subplot, but it never goes anywhere.
Well,
never
she
anything
likes
with it.
Melvin, and then I think she figures out he's a real jerk, and she
I think that
looks
she
somewhere else.
she would have been able to figure that out like years ago.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't get that part either, but
So
she's I mean, this is her first big movie, and she's skinny. She has um, what do you call it? She has frizzy hair, and she's wearing braces. So it's funny to see her like this because she's so young, and I thought that was interesting. And also, I wanted to say too that we were talking about comedy. The woman who plays Peachy's mom
Peachy.
and Clifford's grandma. This is Ruth Gordon, and she's flirting with all the hotel guests, and Peachy's boss has a fit about it, and so there's some comic moments with her flirting with other men and being goofy, and she's already a character anyway. In anything she does, she's an interesting character.
And
So
and she was a strong point in the movie too, because I mean you really didn't need to get a good actress for her character. Her character's not in the movie as much as the main characters, but they got her luckily, and she did a really good job because that's her. And I do think that the movie spent a little bit too much time on that subplot, and it's only because the movie's so short. I think that's the movie's only weakness, is that it's so short, because if it was longer, then you would be able to flesh out these other stories, like with Joan Cusack's character and such. So
okay, well,
What do you rate it?
Well, I rated the movie, and there's a lot that we didn't tell you about. I don't know if Marco's going to do any spoiler alert, but there's a whole big two chunks of the movie we haven't talked about. So I hope that you'd want to watch it because we haven't really given you a lot of information about the rest. But anyway, I would give it a slice of chocolate cream pie with a whipped cream topping and chocolate sprinkles. And why do I do that? Because it's a pleasant enough movie with a satisfying ending. How about you, Marco? What do you rate it?
I give it a full amount. So number one, you have a stack of green beans that aren't seasoned very well, and that represents the fact that it's short and it's not as much as it could be. And also cheesy potatoes because it's 80s cheese, and because it represents Matt Dillon's character. He's kind of like a cheesy villain, although I think he is a really good villain, taking away like the stereotype. He's just really good at playing a well-rounded villain. And also pork chops with two sauces. One of them is cranberry sauce, and that represents the violence in the big guy, Ricky, and another sauce is bourbon peach sauce, which obviously represents Peachy, and that's because he's peachy and he's innocent because he's been privileged enough to be in this academy for his whole entire life. So you have that contrast of characters that works really well together.
Okay, Marco, well, do you want to do any spoilers for everybody? No?
I don't know.
Well, maybe not. Just take our word for it. It's a very nice little movie, and there's some unexpected things that happen, and it gets a little rough for a while, but then everything seems to turn out, and you won't be disappointed. It's not a movie that I would normally like to watch.
Yeah, you would.
No, it would. No, I wouldn't. It's kind of a high school boys movie.
No, it's not.
Well, I feel like it is.
It's not a boys movie. It's an everybody movie.
Well, it's an everybody's movie because
it could be the same story if it starred girls as main characters. Same exact story.
The boys are the main characters in this movie. Like you said, Joan Cusack doesn't have much of a part. She has a supporting role.
It's a movie for everybody.
Yes, it's a movie.
The story could apply to both genders.
Yes, it could.
It has nothing to do with men and boys movie. It's not even. It's nowhere near the type of like what you would consider Rocky or Rambo to be like.
No, it's not like that at all. It's just the thing that I liked about the whole movie was that it was kids who'd gotten themselves into a situation, and it was really Clifford is the only one who's new here. Everybody else is somebody who's been at this school for a while, and they managed to get themselves out of a negative situation by working together and working at it and not giving up. And they didn't need any help from the adults. They did it on their own. And that's one thing I really liked about it. So. Okay, well, unless you have anything else to say, I think we better wrap it up. Marco, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Also, that gang guy was new. That gang member that was hired as the bully's bodyguard.
Yes, Melvin decides, well, if Cliff can get a bodyguard, I'll get one that's even bigger. And he gets a guy who I wondered if he was even a student at the school. Marco says no. And this guy looks like he could be in a gang in the middle of L.A. And it's
he's
just,
really serious.
he is a very serious dude.
But I mean, you would expect him, and he's not been in a lot of movies. He's only been in like 2 movies. But I checked his IMDb page, and he has these like updated pictures, and so I think that he actually wants to be in more movies. He's I don't want to just say minority, but he's a different type of person. I can't think of what he is, but he's really unique.
He's raw.
He might be it might be Egyptian, or it might be I can't remember.
Well, I thought he was Hispanic, but it could be that he could be Middle Eastern, maybe.
Go ahead, look it up, and I'll talk about spoiler alert. Look up My
I
Bodyguard.
I thought you weren't going to do any spoilers.
Well, I am now, since I want you to look it up.
All right.
And I think my favorite fight scene was.
There's not a lot of fighting in it. It mainly is.
It was still
in the end.
The one where the gang member comes in, and he and Ricky refuses to fight, and so he just tears him apart and then throws his bike in the pond. And
his motorcycle.
I mean, really brutal, and that's something very innovative. I don't think even in any modern day high school movie, we've never seen that type of a fight where somebody's just refused to fight, so they just get torn apart. And I think that movie also demonstrates that point well, that you have to defend yourself, and you can't just get other people to fight your battles for you, because the dad calls the principal, and that's what you'd expect with like privileged rich kids, is that it would all get taken care of like that, but not in reality. So I think that's a very good message. No, look up on IMDb. Come on. Another thing about this movie that I forgot to mention is that all of the music is pretty cheesy, and I think the music could definitely be improved, because they do this technique where when there's serious moments happening, they don't play any music. I'm talking about like dramatic moments, but when there's happy moments, they play this really cheesy 80s music, and
Oh, okay.
I don't think
Is this
yeah, that guy.
He's Cuban.
Oh, yeah, Cuban. Yeah, he's really different. He's really unique. He's Cuban. He should be in more movies, since he wants to be. He's got those pictures taken of him. So, anything else you want to say? Did you notice that with the music, how
No.
they would only play the music at happy moments?
It was kind of tinny. I don't know what it is about those movies back then. You know, like French Connection and Love Story and all those. They have this music, and it's the sound quality is not that great. I don't know. Maybe it's because since then, you know, there's been CDs, and the quality of they have different technology now, but you can tell the music just it's the quality of it, the sound quality. It seems tinny and metallic. I don't know how to explain it, but it just is. Truthfully, it's not as good as it is today. So, but that could just be because of the technology, because this was made in 1980. So that's a long time ago.
There's a couple of huge contradictions to your point. number one, this is a very low budget movie. Nobody saw it, basically. So you can't expect that much. Like, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre level quality.
Mm.
And but then you have movies like The Shining, and that movie has that music is like I mean, that music is phenomenal, and that music isn't tinny at all. And neither are movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, Psycho. What about Psycho? What about that music? That was 1960.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with the time period. It has to do with budget, and also whoever did the sound thought it was a good idea to have this fun, cheesy 80s music, happy music.
Well, it's more mainly 70s. It's like 70s music. I mean, they say it's 1980, but it was put together, I'm sure, in the late 70s, and that would make it 70s music. And
I do really like
like
how they don't play music in the dramatic parts.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes that's irritating.
It makes
they
it
ramp
really
up the music, and then you have these cars flying through the air, shots ringing out, and the music it's almost takes away from what's going on.
Oh, like in Dunkirk.
Oh, well, I didn't see that.
Well, there's no characters in Dunkirk either, so. But I actually think taking away the music makes it even more serious. Really,
well, you
really
can concentrate on what's happening and understand it better.
And really mature. I don't even think like you'd see this movie at school nowadays, because they would be like, "Oh, this movie is teaching kids that in order to beat bullies, you have to fight them like a grown-up."
Well, there's also some other things. I don't know if it's like this today, but I thought one thing I didn't get was that, and maybe at people's high schools, maybe they can do this, but that Linderman, he seemed like he could just come and go whenever and
At the special,
he pleased. I thought that was really odd.
he's a special case. He killed his brother.
Well, he didn't kill his brother because it was an intentional thing.
He
It was
killed
an
his brother
accident.
on accident, but
It's an
either way, they're not just gonna, they're gonna let him have privileges that the other kids have if he has been through something like that. And I'm pretty sure he does. That's another question I had, is that did he do well in class? Because
Oh yeah, I wondered about that myself.
I think that he
he must have been smart.
he just does all his homework and gets really good grades, and everybody leaves him alone.
Okay, well.
Okay, so that's it. Good
Okay.
night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and
Peachy!
we'll be seeing you soon. Bye.
You guys like Peachy? Just say that if you're feeling really sad, just say the name Peachy over and over again.
It'll make
Peachy!
you feel happy.
Peachy! And you put it over the microphone so you're screwing up. Okay, goodbye, everybody.